Al McFarlane. Welcome to The Conversation with Al McFarlane. I'm glad to be here and glad to have you along as well. Well, today is Friday, August 11th, 2023. Beautiful day here in Minnesota. I hope it's beautiful wherever you are around the world. And in fact, I want to know where you are. If you're joining us across any of the platforms that we use, shout us out, make a note or drop a shout out in the chat or the comment section. You know, we are connecting with you on two YouTube platforms. YouTube Black Press USA, that's the platform for the Black Press of America, the organization that I'm a member of, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, NNPA we call it. And then we're also streaming live on the Insight News YouTube channel, which is YouTube Insight News MN, Insight News Minnesota. And it's that channel that we want to have you connect with us on, at least momentarily, by going there and clicking subscribe, like, and share. We're pushing up on 500 subscribers right now. We're trying to get to 1,000. And each one of you that clicks and tells friends to click on to become subscribers moves us in that direction. But we're also connecting with you on Facebook, 3 Facebook channels, my personal Al McFarlane Facebook, the Insight News Facebook, Black Press USA Facebook. We're on LinkedIn and we are on Twitter. So however we're connecting with you, we thank you for connecting. Help us build a community, build conversations that matter, fun conversations, interesting conversations. Well, Fridays are always special because we do what we call the Healing Circle, and my partner in this is Dr. Bravada Garrett-Akinsanya. Today's going to be a great program because we're bringing back one of the leading lights in the field of mental health, retired Colonel David Rabb, and we're talking about post-traumatic stress disorder and more. Well, before we do that, let me first of all remind all of us that we are partnering with the Minnesota Department of Health to encourage all of us to stay safe regarding COVID-19. You know, the pandemic is officially formally over, but the risk still exists. And that being the case, we want you to continue to follow the COVID-19 protocols, things like washing your hands, staying aware, prioritizing prevention in all you do in your daily activity. Together, we can create awareness, we can encourage testing, we can help everybody stay healthy. So with that, let me say, enjoy this show. Remember, get well, be well, stay healthy, be aware. Well, I want to bring in Dr. B before we bring in Colonel Rabb, because we've got a special protocol that we employ in the Healing Circle. Dr. B, good afternoon. Good to see you. Welcome to the Healing Circle on The Conversation with Al McFarlane. How you doing, Queen Sister?
I'm fine, King Brother. Bye-bye, Al. It's wonderful to be here as usual on the Healing Circle. I look so forward to Fridays having this conversation with you and being in conversation with the community. And it is a sacred time for me as we gather in the Healing Circle. And in the Healing Circle, we understand that the reason we are in a circle, although we're not in a room together, we're in a virtual spiritual circle in our hearts, is because we join in circle as an African people, because a circle doesn't have hierarchy. There's no end or no beginning, and everybody has equal access to the center, which is the space of power, to have voice. And we sit in the circle. As we sit here, we honor our elders, because we know those are the shoulders that we stand on. And we're grateful to honor the elders for giving us those shoulders. And we honor the elders because they're closest to our ancestors. And our ancestors are honored because they're closest to our Creator. So understanding the linkage between us and others is a critical part of our African consciousness, and the idea of consubstantiation, that means all living things are connected, that we're connected to the earth and the sky and everything in it, that everyone on this planet is connected to each other. We're made from the same thing. So as we do this, we use a talking stick as if we were in traditional circle. And in that circle, we ask for the talking stick. It goes around in our talk as we speak today. And if somebody wants the stick, they ask for it and we pass the stick over to them. And we continue in our orderly fashion in our dialogue, which is a core part of our African identities. So today, I'm just grateful that we get to celebrate being in a space that is safe for us. Every week we have different topics. Next week, I believe we're going to be talking about Black maternal mental health. In that talking about how Black women are die at a higher rate than other groups in America. Our babies are lower birth weights and die more than other people's babies. So we're here to fight for our lives. And then the last Friday of every month, we will celebrate ourselves in this healing circle and continue the dialogue for a second hour in what we would call the recovery room. It's like a town hall, and anybody can come in and be seen and have voice as we talk about things like long COVID that continue to be overrepresented in our community. So I'm grateful that we sit here in this sacred special circle, and I call on our ancestors to guide our voice, guide our spirits, so that it's healing for ourselves and others. And together we say Ashe. I give the talking stick back to you, Baba Al.
Thank you, Dr. B. It's wonderful from time to time, and hope you'll bear with me on this, to take a second and sit back and reflect and review. And, I introduce you as Dr. B or Dr. Bravada Garrett-Akinsanya, but we don't take the time to say all that goes into the making, the becoming, the being. And I thought it would be awesome, Dr. B, if you just take a couple of minutes and talk about your journey into your now, how you arrived at both the work, what the calling is, what the training is, and the authority from which you speak right now.
Thank you so much. That's a powerful question and multifaceted, but I do hold that sacred that I'm in this space, because what a lot of people don't know is that I grew up in Texas, and my father was born in 1898, and my grandpa was a baby when slavery ended. And the name Garrett was the name of the plantation owner in Kentucky. And they moved us to Texas. And I keep that name to remind me I'm only 2 generations from being a slave. But my Akinsanya name is from the Yoruba tribe in West Africa. And that name means recovery of strength and power. My name Bravada was given to me by my mother, who had had 5 boys before she had me. And she wanted to name me Bravo because she was so glad to finally have a girl. And she said the kids would make fun of me because she was a school teacher, and she knew they'd make fun of me in the playground. And so she knew this word bravado, which means bold, daring, and courageous. So I see myself now as an African-American woman of Austin and Laveda Garrett, an African-American woman who boldly recovers from slavery to return to my place of strength and power. And as a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, I've been the first in many ways, the first to graduate with a PhD in my clinical psychology program, the first a psychologist to run the Minnesota Association of Psychology. So I've been very, very active in the field of psychology because I believe in the idea of liberation. And I know that one way we can be liberated is for our spirits and our minds to remind us who we are, and that we're children of the Creator who made all things, and we have a right to wellness. So my calling in life is to acknowledge that right for myself, for my community, for my babies, for my elders, for everyone on this planet. And it's not okay to feel less than. It's not okay to feel powerless when we are created from the source of all power. So, Brother Al, the studies, the years of leadership, now running as an executive director of the African American Child Wellness Institute, where
Mhm.
our mission is to promote the psychological and spiritual wellness of Black children and their families. That's why we do this. Offering services for free if people don't have insurance, for offering it for free if people have co-pays or deductibles that are too high. I believe that we have to share the power of knowledge and
Mm.
share that power in our community. So I'm grateful. I sit here humble and grateful for all the shoulders, including yours, Baba Al, that have lifted me to this space. So I give the talking stick back and thank you for that chance to just let people know where I am and where I come from and what I want us to be. And that's what.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll take the talking stick back. And before we go any further, I want to not acknowledge that Colonel David Rabb is in the green room. We're getting his microphone and technology organized, so he'll be joining the conversation momentarily. But before he does, I have been just in deep thought and watching the moment that we're in now. And this is not part of our scripted program for today, though it's never scripted. We follow the spirit, but I'm monitoring what is the meaning of Mobile. Now, I don't know if you followed any of that business at the dock in Mobile, Alabama, right? Where there's a story about, white people jumping on a Black man who was performing his job, right? And all of a sudden, a mob of whites attacking, trying to beat this guy, but then Black people around rose up,
That's right.
stood up, and handed the white people their behinds on a platter. And I think that's different in a whole bunch of ways. And I'm not glorifying the fight. I'm examining the time and examining the response. And you started off talking about how you're set 2 generations away from slavery, right? All of us are 2 or 3. And we also have to be concerned that there was an order, an expectation, that we were supposed to know our place.
That's right.
And to be able to have to step aside, step down, take low. Dr. B, I remember when I was 12, going to see my great grandmother's sister, who was semi-blind and dip snuff. We go buy her snuff. Garrett snuff is what she had. Garrett
Yep.
snuff, and we'd get her an alum twig out the yard, because that's what she used to clean her teeth, right? But she called me in one day and said, Alvin, I just want to tell you that when you around white people, remember to say yes'm and no'm, yes sir and no sir, and don't look at them, And so I remember Dr. B sitting there, turning and feeling my blood go white hot, sweating. I was angry, not angry at her, because I understood the love. She was guiding and providing instruction intended to keep her great nephew alive, right? But I was angry that I was in a situation where this was the direction she had to give me for my own good. And so I'm looking at that, remembering that, and looking at what happened here in Montgomery, and these young Black people and others, rising up and looking at the context. And the context is that incident was a place where the flotilla came through, the last ship of illegally imported Africans docked there, and before they tried to hide it. That's a place that's 4 or 5 blocks from where Rosa Parks boarded the bus. That's where the Montgomery bus headquarters was started, several blocks, a half a mile from Dr. King's church. And the question that I heard on TV today with one of the guests was that this was a place where the elders, the ancestors, were having a meeting, and they guided the outcome of that situation, and that there is much that we should look at and look into and analyze around that. With that, well, let me stop there. We'll get to this over the course of this conversation. I think we got Brother Colonel David Rabb available. Colonel Rabb, are you there yet? Not quite? Okay.
If you started something up in here today, because we're talking about post-traumatic post-trauma
Yes,
syndrome.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
traumatic syndrome.
yeah.
So
There he is.
I think this brother knows a lot of it in the now as well as from the past. So here he is, retired Colonel David Rabb. Welcome, brother.
It's great to be here. I have been waiting in the back room, and I'm grateful that our technicians and the people in the back room had the ability to get me in, and I'm going to stay with that theme today, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to walk through the open door, but we also need entrance. Cool. So
Mm.
with that, I'm here. I'm here. Okay, now I'm here. Hello, everyone. My name is David Rabb. Um, I am retired colonel, 41 years in the military, started off in the Marine Corps, uh, was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, got out, went to college at Illinois State University, I might add. And then went to graduate school, University of Chicago. I was trained in clinical social work, and I had a calling to work with veterans, a calling to work with veterans. And I followed that calling. And what had happened is that I'm still following um, that calling, and I'm here in this space with you, Al, Dr. B. Thank you for allowing me to share space with you. And before we get started, I just need to acknowledge, our ancestors um, uh, that came before us. I need to acknowledge what's going on in the world. Hawaii is stepping forward in terms of in my sight. I have a connection there because I used to be a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. But I was once a Marine at the age of 17. My first duty station after boot camp was Hawaii, and I am connected still to that experience. So what's happening now in Hawaii is also impacting me. Because I set foot there, was in the jungle there, was raised there. When I say raised, in terms of by the Marine Corps, there, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, and I am a Marine. I think I have an Army shirt on, but deep inside, at my core, I'm a Marine. And in fact, I received a Bronze Star from the Marine Corps when I was in the Army. But the Marine Corps wanted to acknowledge me for saving a lot of people's lives during war. And they presented a Bronze Star to me while I was in the Army. And so,
David, tell me that story. I love stories like that. Tell me the situation that resulted in you receiving the Bronze Star.
Okay, real quick, this is going to be interesting. The question is, who do you follow, or what do you follow, right? Mm-hmm. I was in Baghdad, Iraq, and I commanded a combat stress unit, the 785th Combat Stress Control Unit that is out of actually Fort Snelling, Minnesota. So shout out to all the Marines and soldiers that are there. But I was there for 17 years, getting trained and developed and And by the end of the 17 years in the Army Reserves, coupled with, my Marine experience, God had me in the midst of going to war. And so I had to lead 85 soldiers, psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, psych nurses, occupational therapists, the whole gamut, behavioral health scientists, chaplain assistants, all of that. God threw me in the lion's den with that responsibility. And I have to say, they need to do a movie about this experience, right? Really, they do. And so let me just take a break there and say, if there are any producers there that is looking at producing a dynamic story, they can have it from my experience. And my experience is I led with faith, right? I led with faith. There was so much trauma, so much disaster, brokenness, all that. And for some reason, God put me right in the lion's den, right there. And the situation was I was with 3 of my other soldiers, that included my first sergeant, and who's the leader of the pack for the enlisted soldiers. And the only reason I was there was because we didn't have enough people to go forward, right? Because usually commanders, they stay behind. They command from behind, right? But we didn't have enough in my unit. We didn't have enough people, and to do it. And I got a direct order, and the order was, we need to send somebody into Sadr City, Iraq. And I told my general, I said, sir, I don't have enough people to do that. And he said, that's not the answer. You will have a team put together within 2 hours. And so I sent a behavioral health specialist, young female, actually. I sent a driver and my cook, a cook for the unit. I sent my first sergeant, who is the highest ranking enlisted person, to the fight. And I sent myself. I wasn't supposed to be there, but God had me there. And, in the military, we say this, you train as you fight. Yeah. So when I went into the fight, which is in Sadr City, they did a movie about it. It's called The Long Road Home. And the National Geographic, just Google The Long Road Home, and imagine what you don't see is me and my soldiers, which was a crime, I believe, because we represented the mental health component, right? Me and the 85 soldiers that were in my unit, we represented the mental health component. And in the movie, they looked us over. They didn't mention us, right? But we did do, like I tell you, we did critical event debriefings. We did grief and loss. We did crisis management. We did faith-based. I mean, we had to do it. We had to do all that God wanted us to do.
Colonel Rabb, let me ask you to move back in the camera.
Yeah, and we were
okay. That's better.
Okay,
perfect.
And we were stretched. Anyway, we're stretched. And my point is this, is that we got there, we did what we had to do. We took care of a lot of soldiers at that time. And what happened was, over time, I would, one of the things is what you touch touches you. What you change changes you. I believe that's Octavia Butler who said that, right? African American writer, and she's right. Anything that you touch, anything that I touched, I changed, and everything that I changed me. And so I've been evolving, in a world in which experience, going outside normal experiences. And so I've learned that to accept that I'm different. I learned that a gift is to give. It's there to give. A gift is there to give, right? It's not just to hold on to. No, the gift is, what would you do with a gift?
That's right.
Huh? I mean, don't let me start preaching. But anyway, what would you do with
I'll
a gift?
say amen. Even
Amen.
if you do, I'll say amen.
And so I've helped a lot of people. My units have helped a lot of people. I also went into, I got called back. I got called back 10 years after that to go into Afghanistan and to lead soldiers in Afghanistan because of the gruesome situation.
Brother, let me keep you framed properly.
Okay, follow me.
Look into the camera. Talk into the camera.
Okay,
so talk straight into the camera.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, and then move back a little bit.
Okay, there you go.
Stay right there. That's where I want.
You can tell I'm a brother. I move. I move. I'm saying. But anyway, that's a gift of God. That's another gift. It's a move, right? Anyway, but that's what I did, and we saved a lot of people. Now, this is hot news here, because I'm going to say something I've never said before, and that's this. What led me to be a leader, why I came back into the Army, was I think his name was Terry. Anyway, there was a guy who wrote Bloods, the book. All right. And Bloods is about African Americans in Vietnam. It's a great story. I recommend that you pick it up. It's a true story. It's an account of, short stories about how Black soldiers and Marines and how they survived or not. And when I read that book years ago, it stayed with me, and I said to the Lord, Lord, I want to go back into the military, and I want to help at least one Black person in war. That was my prayer. That was my prayer. I'm not prejudiced. I'm not, racist or anything like that. I just thought that if I could help just one Black person in war get through the experience, then I would done my job, right? And I'm sitting in Iraq while all hell is breaking loose.
Yep.
And I tell you what, I completed my mission, because there was several people of color, brothers, Hispanics, natives, Americans. They were there. In addition to white folks, yeah. But, you know, one of the things I like about the military is when you get down to it, you know, we're more than what you see. We're you know, technically we're like spirits
Yes, right.
doing a will,
Mm-hmm.
or getting accomplishing the mission, and that mission doesn't have a color. You know, it doesn't matter. And I can say that God had allowed me to witness that in Iraq and also in Afghanistan. And
Colonel Rabb,
yes, ma'am.
as you talk about being in the war,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to just ask you a question because,
Which
you know,
one?
some of the things you just described about wanting to help somebody who looked like you,
Mm-hmm.
it hit me because that's why I started the African American Child Wellness Institute, because I learned that to be pro-Black
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean I have to be anti-white.
That's right.
To be pro-woman doesn't mean I have to be anti-male. I can love myself without hurting other people or hating them. And I see that on the battlefield there, just like you are losing brothers and sisters, we're still on a battlefield here on the home front. Our enemies' faces may change, but they still are destroying our communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering how you see some of the skills you had then, how that they can transfer to the now, to the
Mm-hmm.
kids and the families on our streets who are dying left and right and in a different kind of war, but it's still a war. And they
Uh,
still have a different kind of trauma, but it's still trauma.
it,
So what do you think about the war you got at home?
uh, Thank you, Dr. B.
I learned
That's
that from
great.
Al McFarlane. I asked those
Well,
kind of questions.
yeah, you know, everybody needs a good mentor, huh? Yes, we do, and Al is a good one. Um, one of the things is I scale the situation, what I've been going through the eyes of God.
Hmm.
Okay, you know, it's like, again, and I don't think God sees color. Or he doesn't, you know, he sees spirits, he sees people, he sees humanity. He, you know, and so I'm on the battlefield for the Lord, right? Even today, you know, transferring that, um, and I have battles. I have battles that a lot of people don't see, internal battles, but also public battles. I'm going to go here now. Okay. Y'all going I
We're
have
with
to
you.
go here because I got the stage, right? I'm here for a reason,
That's right.
right?
Divine appointment.
Yeah, you know, and let's deal with this. Okay. 41 years in the military, who? 4 deployments, gave my heart, soul, spirit to fighting. Yet, when I come home, I'm talking to y'all now, everybody. When I come home, I felt disjointed. I was disjointed, right? I'm still disjointed. Yet God has had a hand and what I am and what he plans to do with me. Headline: I'm going to war against the VA healthcare because one of the most outrageous and most egregious situation is that service members, I'm talking people on active duty, veterans, I'm talking about, you know, I didn't say what color, I said veterans, and then I say families Okay, in their in their tribe, because we're all connected. That's it. I mean, we're all connected.
Yeah.
You can't say we're not connected. So what impacts you impacts me. All right. The Minneapolis VA has for years, discriminated against people of color.
Hmm.
And they are doing it now. For example, when I went and I told them that I'm coming after them. You don't want Colonel Rabb after you. You do not. I'm saying, I'm speaking from my spirit. You do not want me because I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior that has a Black perspective. And that's the shift. All right. The Minneapolis VA has been discriminating against people of color for at least, how long has it came into existence?
Mm-hmm.
Right? The VA came into like 1930s something, right? And it was all white, right? If you read the book, there's a book, a really great book. I'm going into my files in my head right now. It's a book. It's called When Affirmative Action Was White.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm coming after you. And if you track that history basically clearly shows that during World War I, World War II, all the way to Korea through, Vietnam, the VA has been discriminating against people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I can say that because I experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm a warrior. And warriors, we go to war. I'm going to war against the VA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? They and what I'm talking about is we're talking about lives, saving lives.
Yep.
Okay? I'm talking about access to care.
That's right.
Access to care. They really pissed me off when they recently when I was going for foot surgery and they said that they couldn't see me. Right? My wife and I, we waited and did all the process, and we're in the uh, operating room to do my surgery, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 people in the room. Right? I'm butt naked, but I have a robe on me. But the thing is, my wife is there, and the doctors come in. They shake my hand. Damn, they shake my hand. Said, yes, how you doing? And then they marched out, and then they said we cannot see you because you have COVID. I'm like, what? No, I don't have COVID. They said, well, you have it. And I'm like, and my wife is like, what? She's a healthcare worker herself, right? And, she's dressed up and all that, so, this got real personal. And so what happened was I got kind of angry. My wife got more angry, but I got angry, but I kept my anger in check. And we went. I have to say this. Hey, dear, just hold. I'm on call now. I'll be right with you. All right. Anyway, but what happened was they didn't see me. Right? They wouldn't see me. And I said, no go. I'm not doing it. Okay. So what I did, my wife and I, we went to Walgreens, right? Down the street, took tests, and they both came back negative. And then within an hour or two, I went back to the VA. Now I got to go through the emergency room and all that, waiting and all that, 4 hours. And they say, I said, why are you back? And I'm saying, well, I'm not happy with it. I want to be retested. Okay. They retest me and the results are negative. For those who can hear. For those who can see. What I'm saying, there is a history of institutional racism, a history of discriminating against not just African Americans, but people of color, but also the LGBT community.
Of course. Yep.
All right. And people don't, we don't say, we're too busy, the world's too busy to take note, right? Anyhow, what happened is I demanded, when I was in the emergency room and the test results came back, I demanded that I get another appointment because they had me, when they told me the first time that they couldn't see me because I had COVID, the second time, I said no. Yeah. Anyway, so I fought that battle. But what happened was I had to be rescheduled, but they could only reschedule me like 2-3 weeks out, right? Mm-hmm. That's the first appointment they had for me. And I'm like, fine, give it that. But you know what? I want some justice, right? And I'm smart enough to know that you got to go through the system. And you got to try to get to the top to get attention. And so that's what I did. I reported it, et cetera, went through the EEO process and all that, contacted my senator and all that. And I even the director of VA, wrote letter, no return, right? No contact. I'm a colonel. Still, I know I'm retired, but I still walk around, with my shoulders up, my head up, my spirit up, and I'm ready for this fight. The VA has to change. They have to start hiring more people that look like the people that go and fight our battles.
There you go.
Come back home. They need to take care of us.
That's right.
And they have not.
That's right. And I can add more onto it. I'm going to tell you a couple of things I know straight up. I have 3 brothers who are veterans, one from the Army, one from the Navy, one from the Air Force. And I can tell you right now, what I saw is what you're describing. And as a psychologist, I've had people who've had to come in and have to get external psychological evaluations before they were eligible to get their disability. And what made me mad is I could say, look, he wasn't like this before he went in. He's like that now. It happened while he was there. And they don't want to take responsibility. And I'm telling one brother's file was this thick. And they kept saying he didn't have evidence. I went through it. It took me a long time to build the case, but eventually he got it. And somebody from the VA called me and said, this is the most comprehensive eval we've ever seen on one of our soldiers. Can you do some more? So as I saw that these brothers were coming in, all of them had files this thick. And you can't tell me somebody with a file this thick doesn't have something going on.
Tell me about it.
So I know you're not lying. And so one of the things today, when we're talking about post-traumatic stress, what I like about what you just shared, it doesn't stop because the services stop or the situation stops. It persists. And even in this audience today, we got people sitting here right now. Some of them got the symptoms of PTSD. They don't even know what's going on. They think it's normal. Normal to not sleep and have flashbacks. Normal to have bad dreams at night. Normal to be anxious and hypervigilant. And I like people to know that's not the way life is set up to be. You're not supposed to be depressed all the time. You're not supposed to be anxious, worried when the shoe's gonna drop. You're not supposed to be getting in places where you wake up and feel like you don't know where you are, or you have flashbacks of certain experiences that create intrusive thoughts, or you dissociate. That means you're present, but you're not present. That's not healthy. It's not normal. And we got to realize that some of these behaviors we're experiencing, these symptoms, they don't mean we're flawed. That means something happened to us.
Hey,
right?
Yes.
You know, that change. I love what you said. Something changed, and it changed us. And when we think about that, our children, our parents, our brothers and sisters, even people who are in gangs, especially the brothers and sisters I see who are in gangs, they're so traumatized. They're so traumatized. And when you're traumatized, right, Colonel Rabb, when you're traumatized, your prefrontal cortex isn't working right. You can't think. You're trying to be in flight, fight, right? Freeze, surrender. You're in some kind of mode it's talking about survival. You can't think it through. So our kids make bad decisions because they're traumatized. We sure know our police make bad decisions because they're traumatized. Our brothers and sisters make bad decisions because they're traumatized. And traumatized people only continue to be traumatized.
Hello.
They think, and they traumatize others.
That's
so
right.
We have to be able to heal and claim our wellness. We have to know if it's not right, we don't have to tolerate it. And that's what I like about that fight Brother Al talked about when he opened the program. I like about that fight the fact that people say, you know what, this don't have to be the same scenario. I don't have to be the same Negro my great grandfather was. I don't have to be that same person. I can do some. I have power. I got access. And I will find a way if we stick together. So the whole program today is about not just the trauma, but the growth that occurs after it.
Okay.
So now you've taken that anger and that rage, and you've declared war on the VA. And I don't think you'll be one man. Now you're gonna get you a bunch of followers.
Well, actually, let me share with you. Thank you, Dr. B. There is a couple of veteran organizations, Black veterans organizations that are looking into this or there has been some suits, especially with our Vietnam era veterans, lawsuits. If you just Google lawsuits, VA, African American, Native American, people of color, you're going to come up with a lot of information, right? Mm-hmm. And what's happening is that it's all separate. We're fighting our own separate wars, right? Conflicts and all that. And our heads are down because we're so stressed out or beat up, we can't look up. I'm saying, look up. Mm-hmm. God is there. Look up. You can make it. Look up. Continue to live. Look up. Continue to pray. You know, they can't kill spirits. They might kill me for standing up. But you know what? I have accepted it, right? Freedom is not free. Mm-hmm. You got to risk something. You got to do something. Going back to Sojourner Truth, going back to, Frederick Douglass, going back to Marcus Garvey, going back, going back to Obama. Yes, I said it. Obama. Yeah. Michelle Obama. Yeah, I'm free. I'm free. I can say this. I can say this because I am free.
That's right, brother.
And you can't touch that. You can't touch that. That's God.
Mm-hmm.
I know whom I am. I'm okay with who I am and what I and my families of veterans, what my community, because we need to focus on the community too, because all this has like a rippling effect
Yes.
throughout our community, and we're seeing all these problems and whatnot, but no, who's looking at the origin? Why is this happening still today? Did slavery have something to do with this?
Absolutely. Let me jump in, Brother David, Colonel David. You know, I was in my workout this morning listening to some old tapes. I was at a conference maybe 15, 20 years ago on genealogy. And one of the speakers that I reviewed the tape this morning when I was working out talked about trauma, which is perfect.
Okay.
Talked about his research, and Dr. B has said this several times, acknowledging that trauma transcends generations, right? And so you might be experiencing something, feeling some kind of way, and nothing may have happened to you particularly, but it happened to your mama, happened to your mama's mama. And now you live in the consequence of that trauma. And so this is a perfect conversation. Thank you for stepping forward and providing that mission, that call, the instruction, look up. Look up, you know, that we all are feeling the weight of the incessant effort to suppress and depress our future, our presence, our existence, our truth. But the answer is what you have prescribed here. Let me do this in a surprise to you, Brother David, and I want to see you smile. I'm going to read something. Freedom. Some of us can't see it.
That's right.
Some of us can hardly believe it, that we don't have nothing to lose except these old, rusty, invisible chains. Freedom. Some of us can't understand it. Some of us won't even accept it, that we have nothing to lose except these old, rusty, invisible chains. Freedom. Yes. Freedom. Yes. Freedom rings. We don't have nothing to lose. No, nothing to lose except these old, rusty and dusty, invisible chains. Power, you misused it. Guilt, you refuted. Shame, you abused it. Now we don't have nothing, nothing to lose except these old, rusty chains. We are forever free. A poem by Colonel David Rabb.
What?
It'll be in Monday's issue of Insight News. Yeah. And as you said, Dr. B, Colonel Rabb, a divine appointment. This is the time. It leads back. I mean, this is, in a sense, a way to contextualize what we witnessed, and we're witnessing the discussion we're having about our response today to the historic, the legacy oppression, right? And somebody is saying freedom. Somebody is saying freedom. Somebody is saying, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. And I'm going to stop it right now. Somebody is declaring that you don't want to fight me because I'm a warrior.
That's right.
That's right. Here we go.
That's
okay.
Right.
And so
before we go off the air, I have to
go ahead. We got about a minute.
I have to say, look at the work of Brasma Mamako.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Who was on your show.
Absolutely. My friend,
right?
Resma. Yeah.
Yep.
He was on your show about 3 years ago?
Yep.
All right. You need to bring him back.
We'll do that. I'll call Brother Resma. I see him talk to him all the time online, but I'm gonna call him up.
Yeah.
All right.
Look, we're out of time, brother.
Wow.
Dave, this has been refreshing, Colonel Rabb. Refreshing. So good to see you.
God is good.
To you. Dr. B, final word for you.
Just realizing that we have a right to wellness, and we have a right to look up. We have a right to freedom, and we will achieve it by any means necessary.
Here we go.
That's right.
Thank you.
I'm Al McFarlane. This is The Conversation. We'll see you next time.
Love you all.
Love you too, brother.